let's get into this. So, now they're chasing after Gaara. Chris with body flicker in front going, who in the hell killed me? I'm kidding. Nah, Conqueror goes, who in the hell put the muffins in the freezer? I did. What you gonna do about it? Nothing, dude. He said, and then, yeah, nothing. So that was just a funny thing I wanted to do. So basically, when Chris would body flicker over, he'd say, Chidori! And kill, and stabs Conqueror, doing a lot of damage to him. Gaara would get really, really angry, because Conqueror's still his, like, brother, technically. And he goes into his Shukaku state. He says, so, you're a giant Shukaku. He bites down on his finger, going, he says, summoning jutsu! Summoning crow! Summoning giant crow! He summons down a huge crow and then jumps on it and then he keeps on hitting Gaara with strong attacks over and over. Then Sasuke would jump on the crow and Naruto would too, and they'd all beat the crap out of Shukaku. Then Chris would go Chidori, about to disintegrate him. Then Naruto kicks Gaara off of Shukaku. But then they'd both then Naruto and Thing would headbutt him. Naruto and Gaara would headbutt. Then Tomari would take Conqueror and Gaara away. Krishna says, hopefully we can be friends, and I'll do this. He pulls out a healing tag and slaps it on Conqueror, saying that his wound will heal. She goes, thank you, and they walk away, and they run away. So now, after all the least attacks and all that crap, and Third Hokage dying, Naruto needs to look for a fifth Hokage. Naruto goes out on a journey with Jiraiya, trying to learn Rasengan. Then, when Naruto goes to the hotel, Itachi arrives, and when Christian and Sasuke find out, they are furious and rush over. Then they both bust down the door. They go, ah! He says, oh, you two. Kisame says, Itachi, who are these two? One of them looks like you, the other one kind of does. He says, these are my two little brothers, Christian and Sasuke. He says, though, this two, I thought you were the only Uchiha. He says, nope. They both charge up Chidori's and rush at Itachi. Christian more finesse, trying to hit Itachi, unlike Sasuke, who's just rushing towards Itachi would grab his, while Christian runs on the wall and does it. And then Itachi dodges. He goes, damn it! Then Itachi grabs his arm, and then throws them both together. He goes, damn it! And they collide. Then they just get beat the crap out of because Itachi summons a clone, which is the same strength as him, and they both get bodied. When Itachi is about to put Christian in Tsukuyomi, he says, hey Itachi, can I tell you something that's gonna break your heart? He says, what could you possibly tell me? He says, you know the leader of the Akatsuki? He killed Izumi. The masked man killed Izumi. He goes, what? I'm gonna say in this timeline, I don't know if Itachi ever knew that Izumi died from him. I'm gonna say Itachi is furious in this. He goes and he hates it. He hates Toby for that. He's so mad that Toby killed his crush, aka the one that that they both liked each other. He says, I told you I was gonna break your heart. He says, shut up. Then punches him straight in the face. Then puts him under Tsukuyomi. Christian goes into Tsukuyomi with a smirk on his face. Then they re-experience the Uchiha deaths, and that just traumatizes. And then then Jiraiya would show up, blah 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 blah. Naruto would learn Rasengan, blah 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 blah. Then he'd heal Kakashi, Sasuke, and Christian, and all that crap. But there's something I want to do. But how about this? When Itachi is about to use Tsukuyomi, the Koto jumps in front, going, Gah! He says, oh, Koto. He goes, Gah, Gah! Defending him, standing on top, he says, he rubs Koto, but Koto bites him with his beak. He goes, chomps down, going, ha! It doesn't do a lot. Itachi just flicks it. He goes, Gah! And then he curls up on Christian's lap, going, He says, Itachi, why don't you kill the bird? Itachi, with a death stare, Kisame crushes his communicating, saying that was a bird, that's his pet bird. He's not getting rid of it no matter what, and if anyone touches it, he's gonna murder them. He says, and that's a gift from his friend that died. Another Uchiha, aka Shisui. Itachi leaves the Akatsuki, but he ain't turning good. Itachi, hearing about this news, tells Toby that he's leaving. No, I'm not sure if Itachi was stronger than Toby. I don't know if one Tomo, because Konan actually did pretty good against thing, and Itachi's like the strongest in the Akatsuki besides Toby. Because he is, if you think about it, because it took Naruto Sage Mode to beat him, and Sasuke with his full-powered Curse Mark plus Sharingan couldn't do a thing to him, and he was like unstoppable. So I'm pretty sure Itachi would still be would be stronger than Toby, but just by a little bit, since he's got both Mangekyo. So he'd leave this, and when he says you're not going anywhere, Itachi would light him on fire. He'd go, ah! And then run out of the base, ripping off his Akatsuki attire, putting on some other clothes, maybe like his robe, not a robe, but like the thing that he wears when his Akatsuki robe is torn off. He goes and just sits in the Uchiha base. And then, yeah. Of course, after that, they'd be enraged that Itachi easily destroyed them. And then, Sasuke wants to go to Orochimaru. Well, Christian thinks that Itachi is... After Itachi heard that, he wasn't happy with the Akatsuki. He says, Itachi wasn't too happy. Maybe he doesn't really want it to be. Then he says, hold up, wait a minute. He goes, Sasuke, you mind coming with me? Sasuke says, where are we going? He says, we're going to where I say we're going. He says, tell me where we're going. He says, that's for when we get there, I'll tell you. When they do, they walk all the way to the Uchiha base. He says, why are we here? He says, I have some questions for Itachi. He doesn't say he has questions for Itachi. He kicks down the door saying, Itachi! He says, what? How did you find here? He says, let's just say that, Koto placed a tracker on you. He says, also, I have questions for you. Lots of them. He goes, fine then, I'll answer your questions. We will not fight, we will answer questions. He says, Itachi, why do you think Tenzo, who is the wood-wielding person in the Leaf Village, would place a wood prison right under Danzo's base? And why would Danzo go for our Sharingan? When we were doing this, in our home one night, one of my Sharingan almost got ripped out. Thanks to Danzo's Anbu. Why would that be? And why would Danzo have security cameras of our house? And also one more thing. You know how this doesn't make sense? Because if you think about it, I think you were ordered to kill the clan. Because I don't think on your own will you'd want to kill the clan. Maybe there's a certain reason why they ordered you. Maybe because of a war between the Uchiha and Leaf. He said, Itachi Itachi kicks Sasuke to the left and grabs him, saying, "How do you know this information?" He says, "I have my sources, dummy." He says, "Also, you forgot something about Koto. I can look through his memories. And I also know that Danzo attacked Shisui. And Danzo technically killed Shisui. I know a lot more than you do, Itachi." He says, "So there's no point in hiding yourself of being evil when you're really fine." He says, "Also, what is this?" And pulls out a little microphone. He says, "What is this?" He goes, Itachi says in his head, "What?" Alright, I don't think they're fully frozen. Alright. Daddy, don't like tilt it, tilt it. You're getting off of it. Want to turn the light? Right here, that's where it's at. Then he transforms into Itachi. So then it sounds like it. He says, "Yes, Lord Third." He says, "I heard you have left the Akatsuki." He says, "Yes, I have." He says, "Danzo has officially almost got him." He says, "What? I thought He says, "Apparently he had hidden cameras, and he told Tenzo to place it in a certain place." He goes, "Oh, really? Oh, is that?" He goes, then he says, "Well, I need to do something." He says, "You know I'm not actually Itachi, right?" He goes, "What the?" He turns back and says, "So, Lord Third, what is this about? Itachi being a fake villain." He says, "Where did you find this?" He says, "No, nothing. We're at the Uchiha base right now. Maybe I want answers." He says, "And if I don't get them, I'll destroy the leaf." He goes, and then crushes the communicator. He says, "'Cause if I find out that you were ordered to do it by the Hokage, that village is gone." Itachi face palms hardly, saying, "This is why I didn't want you guys knowing about it. This is why I didn't want you out of all the people. I wouldn't care if Sasuke knew. I mean, I would care, but it's just I didn't want you two knowing because I thought you two would go against the leaf." He says, "That's the reason why. I did this because I like the village." He says, "Can we get our memories reversed and pretend like this never happened?" You know what, guys? That didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. That didn't happen. I'm going to say Itachi did leave the Akatsuki, though. So they're training hard. But they're still not even close to Itachi's level. Christian says, "Would you like to go rogue, Sasuke?" He says, "If that's what we can do, then yes." One night, while Sakura is going blah 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 over their conversations with Sasuke, and Ino going blah 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 with Christian, he says, "I'm going." They both say at the same time, "We're going rogue." They're shocked, saying, "Why? No, don't!" He says, "We need power to kill Itachi, and that's what I want." And they start to go teary eyes. Then they both just get knocked the fuck out, and then they leave, going ready to pack up all their stuff. Then they'd head out, rushing away with the Sound 4. Lady Tsunade would be alerted, and they send out a rescue team. When they do this, they'd both be Sasuke would be put in a coffin. Well, Christian wouldn't be, since he got no curse mark. He'd be walking with them. He says, "Come back." He goes, he's charged up a Chidori and says no, and then activates the shotting gun. He says, "Go away." Then he says, then Kiba yells, "We'll force you to." He goes, "Fang over Fang." In slow motion, he hits Kiba with the Chidori, blasting him to the side. He says, "Do I need to repeat myself?" He said, Neji rotate. Christian rushes at Neji, going, "Chidori!" Neji says, "Kiba was weak." He finds Neji's weak point and jumps over Neji and says, "Chidori!" hitting Neji in the back of the head with a punch. Instead of the Chidori, he goes, and knocking Neji straight out. He said, but then they'd wake up a couple of minutes later while Naruto's fighting him. He says, then Christian smacks back Naruto and he goes, "Damn it!" He says, "I'm going and taking Sasuke with me." He puts the coffin on his back and starts going. The Silent Four decide to handle this. And Christian is running off with Kimimaro, with Sasuke. He says, after a while, they'd finally kill all the Sound Four off. And then rush again. Most of them so tired, but they still make it. They go, trying to make it. Then Kimimaro handles them off, defeating 3 of them, aka Neji, Choji, Shikamaru, and Kiba. That's 4 actually. And it's only Naruto and Rock Lee left. Then Naruto and Rock Lee and then Gaara would show up, so Tamari and Kankuro, and they'd defeat him. Kankuro shows up and slaps healing tags on all of them. Naruto says, "Those are only for the leaf, though." He says, "After Christian gave me one, we'd examined it and copied it, making tons of them." He said, then they start to get healed. He says, "We have to stop them. They're getting away." What? Yeah? You're gonna waste all of them. Alright people, I'm back. So after a while, after the killing Kimimaro, they rush at him, but then Sasuke would awaken from the coffin and says, "Let's go." Kirsten says, "I think you have officially surpassed me by a mile. Like, I don't even have any good power." He says, "I'm just a basic Uchiha." God damn it! Why can't I be something special like everyone else? Sasuke says, "You have insane potential." He says, "Yeah, a potential that needs insane training to do. And I can't go through rigorous training because I'm not like Naruto or you who has an instant regen power or some crap." He says, "This is gonna struggle." Then he goes, "Nandemo, Nandemo, Nandemo." Then he goes, then when all of them arrive, they go, Christian says it's time to fight them. They're fighting and they're not doing too good. Because Christian is being held back, Sasuke is being held back by Christian because he's not that strong, he's not as strong as Sasuke, but there's mere 2 Tomoe. Christian says, he gets punched by Kiba in the face, sending him into the brick wall, he says. Then he backflips onto the monitor statue going, "No, no, 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 no." a dark hurricane aura swirls around him. He goes, "Ah!" Sasuke says, "What's wrong with him?" As he's blocking all the attacks and countering them. He goes, "Ah!" Out of nowhere, his hand turned into demon claws. If you don't know what they are, they're like the Six Paths chakra claws, but they're black demon claws. He goes, "Ah!" Not like the corruption power. This is not like the corruption power. It's literally like demon claws. He goes, "Ah!" Crushing the ground below Kiba and all of them. He goes, "Ah!" He goes swinging a punch, sends them all destroying them, going, "Ah, ah." Naruto would go into his one-tailed snake, Kiba would go into his two-headed wolf, Neji would go full power Byakugan, Lee would go fifth gate, Choji would go into his butterfly form, and Shikamaru would go into his strongest state, his perfect shadow form, I guess I would call it. And they're all insanely strong. Sasuke goes into his curse mark 2 state. He goes, ah. Christian goes, ah. Rushing towards, crushing. He says, "Demon Crush!" Putting his hand, crushing down on Kiba's two-headed wolf, going, ah. Then he jumps to the left and pushing off, kicking Naruto in the face. He goes, ah. Alright, look, say he doesn't have demon claws. Let's go. He's getting destroyed, but he doesn't stand a chance. Then he sees him, then Christian gets sent into a brick wall. Into a cliffside, and he sees Sasuke getting absolutely destroyed because of all these attacks. He goes, I don't know what secret power it could be, like, seriously, like Naruto or some crap. He goes, ah! And then his Sharingan flares into 3 Tomoe. He goes, He goes and he's still not strong enough for Naruto, but he can take out the rest of them. Sasuke can take out Naruto. He can take out the rest. He goes, dodging most of the attacks. He says, my fists aren't doing enough, are they? He goes, he goes with millions of hand signs, summons. He says, with summoning jutsu, Uchiha ninja blades. He puts them into his hands and activates lightning style. He goes, Sasuke says, what are those? He says, the legendary ninja Uchiha blades. He goes and rushes towards them, destroying them. Going, boom! Neji goes for a rotation. He grabs Neji's hand and says, Chidori! Stabbing Neji through the stomach, going, Neji goes, oh, he says, Sharingan versus Byakugan. He pulled Neji by his hair. Sharingan always wins. Then punches him straight into a wall, going, Then Kiba goes, you bastard! Wolf fang over fang! He says, when he does this, he rushes towards him. Christian goes, Chidori stream! Ow! Flip, that actually kind of hurt. Punches the ground, and then the Chidori stream shocks them all. He goes, Tsuh. He goes, Kiba goes, but then the full finger ring keeps on going. He's trying to hold off the wolf finger ring, and it's working. Then he pushes it up in the air, going, ah! Kiba goes to the sky, and Christian charges up a full power Chidori. He goes, you are my friend. Ah, Chidori said, going, grrr, and hitting Kiba, destroying him and Akamaru. Then he flies down, going, Skyrim Chidori! He goes and goes, and hits him with a Skyrim Chidori, destroying the rest of them. He goes, then they win the fight. Then when Naruto goes for a villain, when Naruto's kicking Sasuke's, like absolutely destroying him, going, then he goes for a Vermilion Rasengan, ready to hit Sasuke with it, ready to kill him since Kurama's in control. He goes, because he goes, I won't let you, and charges up. He says, I won't let you, Naruto Uzumaki. I won't let you kill my brother. Charging up a massive Chidori. Then he jumps up in the air going, Plasma Ray! He goes, Plasma Chidori! Comes and blasts Naruto. Absolutely destroying him. He goes, sends Naruto on the wall, goes, Christian goes, Sasuke gets out of his form, going, Gah! Christian powers down out of his Sharingan. He goes, Christian pulling out a healing tag, slapping it on him. He goes, regenerating him faster. Then he picks up Sasuke and puts him on his back, going, and then he's walking throughout the nations, having to fight with Sasuke on his back sometimes. He goes, about a day later, a couple of hours later, Sasuke wakes up. He says, what happened? He says, we won the fight, but badly. We won badly. You were about to get killed by Naruto, so then I hit him with so then I finished him off. He says, you killed Naruto? He says, no, only knocked him out. He says, we're almost there to Orochimaru. He goes, choo, choo, choo. And then they make it. He goes, choo, I made it. He goes, we made it to Orochimaru. Then he knocks on the door. Orochimaru says, what are you doing here, young Uchiha? He says, brought him. He puts Sasuke down and slaps a healing tag on him. He goes, what are those? He says, healing tags. He says, Itachi says, I wouldn't need their bodies. I could just use those and maybe find an ability that makes me stronger after every fight. Sengai boosts.